So essentially, when we're talking about profit levers, it's all looking at the nuances of what makes up revenue and what makes up expenses so that we can find ways to do more with less or do more with more, right? Let's dive into that for a moment. And, when you're working with, and you started to allude to this, right? You said like inconsistent revenue means you probably have a client acquisition problem, but you had to have a $10 million business where their problem is pricing. So what are some things that our listeners can look at to start to recognize or realize what are the levers they can pull to change their profit conversation in their business?
So let's start at the beginning. In order to get business, someone has to know about you, right? So I think the first lever is awareness of your ability to perform a service for them. And so that's the first thing. Now, unfortunately, in today's world, everyone tells you to spend a ton of money on getting awareness. And that's a slippery slope. If you can figure out a way to build awareness without spending money, it is much better for you. There's trade-offs there. So the first question is, how many people are aware of us? And if you aren't tracking some sort of number or metric, that's a problem. So it could be number of people coming to your website. It could be number of incoming leads. Like how many times does the phone ring and someone say, I'd like to do, I need an attorney, I need help. So that's the first question. And what does it cost you to get that number of people to call you? The second question is, what percentage of those people actually become a client? So let's say I get 10 phone calls, and out of the 10 phone calls, I get one client. Well, you might think that's good, but rather than spending money to now double your leads to 20 so that you get 2 clients, what about thinking about your sales process or your intake process or that whole handling that instead of just getting 10 to 1, what if we could get 10 to 2? A little bit of thinking about your business and you just doubled your revenue without spending a penny. That's the kind of stuff we like to focus on. Or maybe it's just tweaking the ad or whatever it is that you're doing. So instead of getting 10 for the money you spent, you get 20 for the money you spent. And I think that's the first lever to look at is, how do we get business in the door?
Interestingly, maximizing efficiency of leads or efficiency of ad spend, which is what you just laid out, it has another benefit, which is it gives you more firepower to increase that spend or increase that investment in time or whatever it is that you need to do to now get more leads in the door. So if you first make it more efficient before you try to add more leads, what you're doing is you're making it easier to add more leads when you get there. So besides for increasing your profitability today, it's also giving you more firepower for tomorrow.
Correct. So once we have all of this and they come in and they become a client, the first question is, what's your pricing model? Do you appropriately price? Historically, it's always been billing time, right? In increments. It's really nice. I've had talks with attorneys about going more to, we'll call it a flat price or a recurring revenue model where they pay you a flat monthly fee to handle their issues. This way, your revenue is consistent throughout the year. You don't have to worry about it. You're not worried as much about tracking time. They're not worried as much about picking up the phone and calling you. It's taking friction out of your relationship with your client. So I think a lot of times it's appropriate pricing. And then next is, what does it cost to deliver the service? And what I mean is the attorney's time or the paralegal's time. What is their time actually cost you? And what's the spread between that time and what you're actually billing out? So that gives us our gross margin. It tells us, okay, here's how much money came in, how much it cost us to deliver the service. Now I have my gross margin. Now I need to run my business on the gross margin, which is all the other expenses.